So hey you guys, I'm PETA and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to talk about daddy issues. And the reason why we're going to talk about daddy issues is because I discussed mommy issues before, but I never got to daddy issues. And that is something that has been, has been an issue for a lot of us for a very long time. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in to daddy issues. But before we get started, I want you to go ahead and hit like, comment, and subscribe. Tap that notification bell so that you can receive all of the uploads to this channel. Also, I got my little notes here, and that way I don't get sidetracked and we don't be on this topic all day, because y'all know how I do. I will go down the rabbit hole. All right, so before we get started, I just want to say, give thanks to the fathers that are present and active in their lives, in their children's lives. Not just present, but active. Because you can be an image that's there, you can be a person that's there, but you're not necessarily active, you're not necessarily in tune with your children. So kudos to the fathers that are there, that are taking care of their children and all these things. And here's the thing, this is in no means to bash any fathers out there. All right, but if you are triggered by the things that are being said in this video, then there may be a need to self-evaluate. Also, this is not bashing women, or this is not a segment to say, oh well, there's some moms that have. Yes, there are some moms that have it, and if you look in previous videos, there are several mommy issue videos, so you can go and check those out as well. All right, so we're gonna just go ahead and get started now that that disclaimer is out of the way. But so the father is pretty much the life support of the child. All right, the father is the first love of the daughter. All right, and the father is also the first masculine image that assists the son in shaping his identity. All right, so when you're looking at how important the role of the father is, it is significant in the development of the child. All right, and so when you have a father that is not in a child's life, or a father that is present in a child's life but not active, meaning they're just there, that does something to the child that is more that has more long-term residual effects. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce back and forth here, but I'm going to talk about some of the effects that an absent father or daddy issues have on both male and female, right? And so when we talk about daddy issues, these daddy issues show up, all right, and this is pretty much like most of the time when you see daddy issues in a woman, this is how the woman selects her mate. All right, so if the dad was a drunk, then many times you'll see that the female will go out in society and they'll get a drunk as a father. If the father was in the streets, then the female will go out and the child will mate someone of the streets. And then if you see the father was abusive, then the child will go out and make someone accept abuse in their relationship, right? But the thing is, if there's no father present at all, then guess what? She's just out there searching. And she's just out there searching for anyone that's going to give her attention, for anyone that's going to give her what she feels a father is supposed to give her in a man. All right, so she's going to continuously go out seeking a father in a man. All right, and with that comes heartache. With that comes a lot of things. With that comes a lot of insecurities, because there's so many different trial and error here, because she doesn't have a basis. She doesn't have anything to reference, right? So she go out and she make these poor choices in her selection of mating. Also, when you see a woman out and she has daddy issues, she has this need to feel protected. And she also develops this codependency, like that there just needs to be somebody there. So she's wanting to feel protected. She wanted to feel the protection that she never felt from her father, from these men. So then someone presents this masculine energy, and some may be a little too masculine, and to her this is okay. So whatever comes from this, whatever comes from this, I'm okay with it, because at least I have somebody there protecting me. And that's not okay. That's not okay on a cognitive level, and that's not okay on a personal level, right? And so she also, when she has daddy issues, she also doesn't understand how she should be treated by a man, right? Because here we go. Fathers usually come in and they usually play a role, and they see the interaction of the father with the mother. And then if it's a healthy interaction, then the daughter has an idea of how a man is supposed to treat a woman. But if she doesn't have that reference, she goes out there, she don't know how she's supposed to be treated, right? So she's just allowing anyone to treat her any kind of way, because she just wants to feel love. She just wants to feel connected. She just wants to feel like there is an attachment, that there is some kind of connection, that there is some kind of attachment with this person, so that she don't be alone, or they, so that she doesn't end up by herself. She's kind of put up with the treatment. You see what I'm saying? So doesn't really understand how to be treated. And so when that early present is lacked, it plays on the self-esteem, right? Plays on the self-esteem, because now she's out here feeling like, oh, no one loves me. Oh, I'm unworthy. I'm not this. I'm not that. And so build all of these different insecurities about herself, and then just start attaching herself to things that does not serve a purpose in her life, right? So they're insecure. We're insecure. We, self-love issues, Russell Love, that inner child starts to act out every time something goes on in this person's life. This person doesn't know how to respond to what's going on in their life. And I was looking at this video about Lawrence Hill's daughter, right? And she was talking about how her mom, was just a nasty spirited person because she had daddy issues and her father wasn't there. And also, I'm going to put the link in the description below so you can check out Couture's video, because I'm not going to go back and do another video, right? But you can check out her video, and it's in there where she was talking about her mom suffering from daddy issues. And a lot of the things that she mentioned was that her mom was mean-spirited, because you can tell that those issues that she had from her father not being present was presenting, just being projected off on her. And also when Lauryn Hill noticed that her husband was acting in the same manner, that her baby's dad was acting in the same manner, she kind of took that out on the kids. And so the daughter could really tell that Lauren was suffering from some self-esteem, from a lot of insecurities and a lot of different things that was going on in her life, and she didn't know where that pain was coming from. But the daughter made the connection as if coming from, not having that father there. And so when you lack this self-esteem, when you lack this self-love, you find yourself in things that you're not supposed to be in. That's how a lot of these young people end up in the streets. That's how a lot of these young people end up involved in prostitution. This is how a lot of people end up in sex trafficking, in gangs, just trying to feel that sense of belonging to someone because of that lack of that male presence, that male role model in their life. And again, like I told y'all, look, we talked about mommy issues in previous videos. I don't want to get off subject, but I just want to make it clear that there are some things with moms too, but right now we're talking about fathers. And so not having that male presence establish those different insecurities in these children's lives, and they really don't know which direction to turn to. All right. And so another thing, stripping, trying to feel that connection, trying to feel that sense of belonging. and going up into the strip clubs and just getting that momentary attention, just trying to feel something, because this void is needing to be filled here. And so many times we don't know how to fill those voids, so we fill those voids with being promiscuous and just getting whatever attention it is that we are going to get at the moment, right? So that is something to just pay attention to when you are judging people about their circumstances, looking at the root of what caused these circumstances here. But yeah, again, internalizing that unworthiness, that wanting to be loved, that not having the respect that they deserve, and all of that good stuff. All right, and so another thing is, she goes out and she relates to the world in an unhealthy way. All right, attaching herself to these toxic people. I'm talking about friends, toxic relationships, toxic whatever, right? Just relating to the world in an unhealthy way, unable to control the thoughts, unable to, just get a handle on life. All right, just spiraling out of control, going into these different states of depression, because again, this unworthiness is setting in, these insecurities are playing on the mind, right? And it really is not true. It's not true that you're unworthy and that you don't deserve to be loved, and that no one wants to be around you and no one cares for you, and you're better off without this, and why did they bring me into the world if this was going to be how this was going to be? Those are not true. Those are just, things that you're telling yourself at the moment, because you are, emotionally reasoning, right? Because this is how I feel at the moment. I'm just so hurt right now. So this is how I feel. So this is my truth right now. Okay. What else do I have here? All right. And so, projects those insecurities and instabilities. Okay, so right here I have, we go off into the world and we project our insecurities, our instabilities, our feelings of rejection, our feeling of abandonment, right? And so then when we do this, we continue to perpetuate the cycle. Growing up, I was an orphan. But not an orphan in a way that that my mom and dad weren't there, but my mom and dad weren't present, right? My dad was a street guy. He used to drop the money off, that's what he did. He taught me a few things, but it wasn't like he was active. And my mother, she was not present as well, but we're going to just focus on my father. So, I in the beginning stages of my development, I've always had these friends, just trying to feel this sense of belonging, hanging around people, creating family that's not really my family, but I'm just trying to belong to someone because I lacked that. And I find myself a lot of times hanging around the wrong people, engaging in the wrong things growing up, right? And so as I got older, I would, project my ideas of what I thought a family was into the world, right? And so my first relationship, like my first serious relationship, it was just crap, right? I attached to this person because this person gave me that comfort and that illusion of that fatherly figure, right? And so in my mind, I thought I was in love, but I wasn't in love. I was just in my head about what I felt like I was lacking in my life. And I put up with things that I wouldn't put up with now or any time after that. Like after that split, I wouldn't put up with it, and so, but I only did that because of that connection that I made to this person based off of that lack of that father presence in my life. All right. So we do that. We go out, we connect with people, we create these insecure attachments with these people just so we can feel this sense of belonging. This thing keep falling down. I'm going to just let it hang down because I'm tired of messing with it, okay? But yeah, so we continue to perpetuate these cycles, right? And these cycles of these unresolved issues, being unhappy, nagging, being angry, being frustrated, being codependent. I'm talking about we doing all of this stuff, and this stuff is doing nothing for us. All this stuff is doing is just just creating more pain and more hurt, because now we out here just hurting people because of the unresolved issues we have for not having that fatherly presence in our lives, right? And so this is a two-sided sword. So this can be said the same thing for men, all right? So men, again, the father is the male's first role model, the first masculine, image that they have in their mind of what a man should be, right? And so this is going to assist them in shaping their identity, right? So if there's no one there, then what do they go off of? Their moms have to tell them, like, hey, this is how you do this is how you do that. But there's no male there, showing them, what right looks like. What is this supposed to be? Am I supposed to sit down and use the restroom, or am I supposed to stand up and use the restroom? We don't look at the intricacy of those things when we're raising our children as moms, but if a male is present in the home, the child could see what the father is doing, right? And the child will then imitate what they see the father doing. So that's why that healthy male presence is needed, because this is the image that is in this child's mind. And people are like, oh, my daddy was there, but he wasn't there. Then he wasn't there. All right, what are you basing these milestones off of? If a father is there, when the child grows up and the child is 30 something years old, they can be like, oh, when my dad was 30 something, he was at this stage in his life, he had this going for himself, he had that going for himself. And now when they get out into the world, they're making wise choices, because they don't want to be less than what their father was. They're trying to be better than what their father was. And I watch these interactions all the time with my kids, how the boys, how they always trying to be better than their father, and so having this healthy balance gives them these stages like, okay, when I get at this age, I want to have this, and this, so these are these healthy associations that they're able to project out in the world, right? All right, so I also put here that, like, I'm not making excuses for anybody to be trash, right? I'm not, okay? But we cannot fault people for what they don't know. And that's our biggest thing. Our biggest thing is, we don't want nobody punishing us for something that we were unaware of, And so we don't want to punish people for things that they're not skilled in and things that they don't know. We want to give everybody a chance here, right? And so I made the example of, you got a health administrative person. This is the person that keeps the records. They're the admin for the healthcare industry. They see all the notes. They're familiar with all the codes. They know all of these things. But would you go to that administrator and say, hey, I need brain surgery today, and allow that person to give you brain surgery? No, because that person is not skilled. That person does not have the proper training to perform those surgeries. So you're not going to go and get this surgery from this person that does not have the proper training. And that's the same thing with fatherhood. You can't expect a person who didn't have a father to know how to be a father off the gate. Now, I'm not leaving that as an excuse not to heal yourself and learn how to be a father. What I'm saying is, you cannot expect these spectacular results from a person that didn't have a father. Now, there are some that defy the odds. All right, there are some that didn't have a father, or had a father that was present but not active, and they turned out all right. But that's not the case for many people. All right, that is not the case for many people. All right, And so men with father issues, they tend to overcompensate. They tend to overcompensate the same way that women would, right? But they either got too much testosterone or not enough. They just don't want to feel alone. They don't want to feel abandoned. So they overcompensate by buying all these gifts and doing all these things. And I'm not saying that, people not supposed to give gifts. I'm saying, but there's a little thing, it's too much. Almost like you're buying the love of the person that you're trying to be with here. So when you could tell when the father is not present, because these people, they're so wanting to not be abandoned again, that they'll do whatever, even if it goes against their integrity. They'll do whatever it is just to keep that person by their side. And this one can swing either way. This goes for male, this goes for female, because I see a lot of times where us women, we doing extra stuff just to keep a man, right? And this man ain't no good, right? But you're doing these extra things just to keep these men, right? Men with father issues, suffer from that fear of rejection, right? So they have this fear of rejection. They have this fear of abandonment, right? And so they don't want to be alone. And so that's why everybody's like, oh, you need to heal your inner child. Everybody say that. But right, what inner child? Which one? Are we healing the inner child nature? Are we healing the temperament of the inner child? Which inner child are we healing here? And so the inner child that we're healing, we are addressing in this whole entire segment, we are addressing the orphan. All right. We are addressing the orphan. And the reason why we're addressing the orphan is because the orphan is the reason that these relationships that you find yourself in are unhealthy. Right. The orphan is the reason why you're trying to force friendships, relationships, and all these different things, force these things to happen, force these things to align. All right. And you don't need it. Right. The orphan is the reason why every time something happens, you do not know how to act. You throw a temper tantrum because things are not going the way that your mind foresaw it going. Like your mind wanted it to work. Your mind wanted this to happen. And so now that it's not happening your way, you out here throwing temper tantrums, acting crazy, about to get yourself in a lot of trouble, and it's because you created this idea of what this is supposed to be like, right? All right, so that's the one that we need to address. We need to address the orphan, all right, and understand that you can't force these surrogate relationships on people that you're interacting with in this world, right? So how do we heal this, right? So the way that we heal this, the first thing, I don't even really need my notes for this part because it's simple. You have to accept that you have daddy issues. If you do not accept the fact that you have daddy issues, it's going to be hard for you to heal from it. It's going to be impossible for you to heal from it because you're going to be trying to heal all of these other things. You're going to be trying to continue to fill this void, and it's not going to work. And it's because you haven't accepted the fact that you have daddy issues. So you have to accept the fact that you have daddy issues. And next you have to be ready to heal from these daddy issues. And not making excuses as to why at this time you can't make time for your healing. All right. And so secondly, my second thing, which is always my go-to, and everybody like, oh, y'all always say meditate. Yes, meditate. Meditate. Get yourself in a state of mind to where you could control your thoughts, because you need to gain self-control here and understand that these ideas of what a father is just a construct that you made up in your mind, right? So that's what you need to work on. And when you're meditating, you need to be meditating to be healed from that, to understand acceptance and all of this different stuff, being able to accept what took place in your life. You also need to You also need to be able to do that inner work. I'm talking about working on that self-love and begin to do things for yourself to promote self-love and affirm yourself. Tell yourself the positive things about yourself. Tell you that you love you. Tell you that you are worthy. Tell you that you don't need nobody, right? You got to encourage yourself. You have to uplift yourself. You have to talk to these cells. All right. You talk to these cells and send these positive charges to these cells, and then you're going to be a positive person. I know it sounds far-fetched, but that's true. Next, if your daddy or if your father is still alive, go talk to him. If your father is still alive, go talk to him. And the reason why I say go talk to him, this is if he's not like a crazy, violent person. I don't want you to do anything unsafe. And I don't want you to go talking to him to attack this person. Because this is not, attacking a person is reversing the healing, right? So I need you to go and talk to this person and talk to them from a place of understanding. You need to understand what was going on in his mind when he decided to walk out, or why was he there, but he didn't do anything for you guys. And let them know, once they explain their side, let them know how it affected you, right? Because that's a lot of times, daddies be going through some stuff, y'all. Especially old school daddies. All right, the old school daddies, they had a lot. There was different rules and different standards, and it was a double standard then. And it was a lot on a lot of them. I'm not making excuses for them, just saying, like, you got to look at where they're coming from. Especially if you got an older family, like how my family is older, right? My family is very old, okay? And so you're talking about people that came out of slavery, and then my grandmother indentured servant, and my mom the first group of kids from this type of lifestyle. Right? So you're talking about some people that were couldn't form attachment with their children and their mates because they feared being snatched away from them, right? And then you're talking about these people having kids with the same mentality. And then now these people are in lack, and they have children that grow up in my era. Because everybody think that slavery is so far removed. But when you got these older parents, it's not that far removed at all. All right, just because grandma is 40 now, grandma wasn't 40 back then. All right, grandma was much older back then, okay? So you got to look at where they're coming from and understand what was going on through their mind, all right? Because society put a heavy load on men back then. Society started this, they need to be able to provide and protect, which organically, that's a man's nature, to protect, right? But if the provision is all on him, that could be a little stressful. But we, like I said, we're here to learn and accept. We're not here to criticize. We're not here to say, oh, you just making excuses for them. That's not what we're here for. We're here to try to understand why daddy didn't want to be there, or why daddy couldn't be there, And so just having that talk with him to understand. You might not even agree to what he's saying, but at least you have his side, right? At least you have his side of the story. And then he would tell you. Because when I asked my dad, when he was here, I asked him, I said, man, why weren't you present like that? And he said, man, he said, your grandmother and your mom wouldn't even let me see you. He said, I had to climb a building to see you one time. That's what my father told me. And my grandmother told me it was true, But my grandma also told me that, he was a little crazy, so they thought that they were protecting me, And they don't know what that did to me, right? So you got to think about that too when you're moving forward, okay? Healing. Because I speak about healing a lot, but I don't want y'all to think that when I say healing, I mean that you go and be best friends with this person. Because this is just caveating off what we was talking about, understanding your father, right? You don't got to go be best friends with the person that you're healing from. You just need to have that understanding. Accept that these people gave you the best that they could, or accept whatever that truth is, because some people would be raw and be like, look, I just didn't want to be there. All right, because my biological father, the father that I was talking about, that was the father that I thought was my father. My biological father wasn't there, and he didn't want to be there. All right, he never even thought about me being his kid, right? So yeah, you gonna, some scary truths gonna come up. You might go to daddy thinking daddy your daddy, and daddy ain't even your daddy. See? But that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, so healing. You don't have to be best friends with these people that you're healing from, because I don't know where people got that messed up. These are wounds. And when you, and some wounds are surface level. Some wounds are just scrapes and boo-boos, right? You could just put some Neosporin on it. You'll be good. Take you some alcohol. You're good, right? But some wounds are surgical. And the father wound is a surgical wound. So you don't have to go and be best friends with your father. All you have to do with your father is, accept it and just continue your healing. Accept whatever comes, whatever he says, whatever you've determined, and just continue your healing. Continue working on your self-love. Continue doing all these things for self. All right? And I know, like, you like, oh, man, that's all you got for me. All you got is meditation. No, you can do any form of anything that's going to help ease your mind and help you through this healing process. Self-love, pampering yourself, making yourself feel good. I'm telling you, doing your mirror work, getting in that mirror and telling yourself that you are worthy. Reversing these psychological attacks that have been placed on your mind. All right? Reversing it. Because I know that you don't been around some people that don't told you weren't worth nothing. And so you got to reverse that. Okay? So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring this to a close. But I hope that you guys really gained something out of this information. I know it was a little long with it. I hope you guys, got something from it. I hope it was helpful. And I will holler at y'all.